Hey, what's up, guys? It's Chris here from Chris's Sci-Fi Reactions. Today, here with another classic Doctor Who. This is the Keys of Marinus Part 5, Sentence of Death. Um, yeah, been enjoying this story so far. Uh, yeah, not much else to say, I don't think. I do try and get 2 episodes of Doctor Who up a fortnight. Hopefully, I can continue doing that. No guarantees on this channel, of course, because I have my uni. But yeah, without further ado, let's just get straight on into it. Full uncut, unedited reaction is available on Patreon. Let's go.
Do you want to tell me where you've hidden it? Who are you?
It's pretty
My name is
bad
Terrell.
that
I'm an interrogator in the Guardian
they
Command.
just left him there
Feel well enough to talk?
to wake
My neck's
up.
pretty sore. What happened here?
I'm waiting for you to tell me.
Me? I don't know much. I just came through that door.
It was unlocked?
It was ajar. Saw the body on the floor. I bent down to have a look and... Someone... We haven't much time for a talk, Doctor. In a moment, I've got to go in there and face an accusation of murder. I need a man to defend me.
I am that man.
I love the way the doctors are so prideful. Yep, I can do that. Of the headdresses.
Our decision on the report of Chief Inquirer Taron is that the prisoner, Ian Chesterton, is guilty of murder and that his sentence is death. The said sentence to be administered 3 days after the end of this hearing, unless the representative for the accused can show positive proof why the execution should not be carried out. Will you stand up? Representative for the defense, you have a grave duty. You have offered your services in this matter, which complies with the laws of the city of Millennius, in that any person may speak on behalf of another. Are you acquainted with our laws?
Yes, I have studied some, my lord.
Every latitude will be allowed to you, and if you are at fault, I will give you directions.
Thank you.
The representative for the court, Eisen, has spoken his facts. You may now reply.
My lords, I cannot defend a man when I have not considered every aspect of the case. I must have time to examine witnesses, read statements, and to prepare my case.
I object most strongly.
The
Why?
demand is reasonable in itself. The crime of murder in Millennius is in itself unusual. Then I grant you 2 days.
Thank you, my lord.
Nice work, Doctor.
I congratulate you.
Thank you.
It will not alter the outcome.
We shall see.
Well done, Doctor.
I've been studying and studied their laws ever since I heard that Ephraim had been murdered.
Ephraim? He was your friend.
I rather gather when we discover its location, we shall also discover the real identity of the murderer.
But we know the murderer.
Unless the
It was
person
Chesterton.
had a
Mr. Tarrant, I
travel
wonder if you don't
dial.
mind leaving us alone for a few moments. We'd like to discuss the aspects of
If
this.
the actual murder had a travel dial.
Yeah.
Any ideas? Well,
What?
have you any idea how the key got out of here?
Oh, would be complete. I can't improve at this very moment. I can't prove at this very moment that Chesterton didn't hide it in its present location.
What do we do then?
I have a little errand for you, and I think you will
It's
find...
I'm surprised they let something like that go in to Doctor Who. Especially considering that this prime focus was towards kids. Jeez.
Ison here. Don't say any more. There are people near. I'll take it on the personal. All right, go ahead. You really think she knows something? You mean that our young friend may not be able to go through with it? Well, listen carefully, and I'll tell you what you may have to do.
Doesn't sound good.
This mace, a weapon used in primitive times by vicious, savage war makers. The same savagery that wielded it then lives on, in men like the accused. Members of the tribunal, the evidence already offered is more than enough to ensure the conviction of this man.
I
And add
find
to it
this
the fact that under
interesting,
psychometric examination,
but
this
I'm not
mace
much of a
was found to
fan
have
of
been held in the right
court
hand of the prisoner.
room things.
I need say no more. That concludes the evidence for the prosecution.
Courtroom drama, I think, is the right word I'm looking for.
You will
Courtroom
now
drama.
hear a statement from the representative of the accused and convicted.
My lords, let me begin by saying that the murderer is without any doubt in this chamber. The trouble is, he's not under arrest, but my young friend here is.
Can you
Ooh,
substantiate
damn.
this?
I can, my lord. You will know his identity in a moment. I will now call my first witness. Thank you. Thank you. This, my lords, is the reproduction of the stolen micro-key. Do you recognize this young lady?
Yes.
And do you know where it is now?
Yes, I do.
Then please tell the tribunal where it's present.
Places, the tribunal is about to start again.
Was it personality or characteristics, like physical characteristics? They didn't say.
Where's Susan?
Oh, she's gone to get Ian's statement.
It is clear that Aidan was involved in either the theft or the killing. It is also clear that he had an accomplice. Bearing in mind that the accused came here with the express purpose of recovering the micro-key and remembering the evidence against him, his guilt becomes even more obvious. Will the prosecutor please summarize?
Despite the dramatics and hysterics of recent events, very little is changed. I submit that the accused did, by threat or coercion, involve Aidan in the murder and robbery. His last dying words were, "They made me do it." They were the accused and his accomplices. They were standing near him when he was killed. One of them is responsible for his death. I submit that the defense has offered no new evidence, and the sentence of the tribunal should be carried out.
The
Well, if
tribunal concurs,
they
though it has
suspect
deprived us
that
of more detailed
one
evidence,
of the
the unfortunate
companions
death of Guardian
did it
April
as well,
has
wouldn't
surely
you
not affected the issue.
arrest them?
We will now hear a statement, a closing statement from the defense.
I beg the indulgence of the tribunal and ask for time to produce new evidence.
Denied. No purpose would be served in delaying these proceedings further. If you have nothing to add, the accused will be taken from here and executed in the prescribed manner.
Doctor's like,
A messenger.
I have no idea what to do.
I have to get back inside. Will you excuse me?
What is it? It says, there will be another death if you disclose where the key is hidden.
But you realize what this means. It proves that someone else was involved. You must tell Taron and the doctor quickly.
Yes, but what does it mean, another death? Whose death?
Doctor?
Someone wishes to speak to you.
Hello? Susan?
Barbara, they made me call you.
Who, Susan? Who?
Barbara, listen, they were...
Susan? Susan? Are you there, Susan?
They're going to kill me.
Susan?
Damn. That's, yeah, not good. So that was Doctor Who, The Keys of Marinus, The Sentence of Death. An okay episode. I'm not the biggest fan of courtroom dramas. Like Law and Order, SVU. I don't mind the criminal part of it, but I've never really been a fan of the legal part of those SVU Law and Orders. That's why I liked Criminal Intent so much, because it didn't have that law, or hardly any of that law stuff in it. But let's just break it down. Oops. Right on. Start with the opening. Ian's hurt. We then have an investigation by this. We meet this Chief Taran. Chief Investigator, I think was his name. He then is asking questions about Ian, like, how did you steal the key? Ian's obviously denying it. Taran then says, you're going to be charged with murder. Ian says, oh, you have to prove I did the actual killing, but that's contrary to their system. In their system, guilty until proven innocent. Then we have the Doctor come back into the fold, willing to be Ian Chesterton's attorney. Then we have the having a bit of trouble. They've changed the way you can move it along. It's very irritating. Then we have these judges that are introduced. Then the Doctor says, oh, yeah, I'm familiar with some of your laws. Not all, and they said they'll give him every latitude that they can. The Doctor then asks for time to investigate the case. They decide to grant the request, given that murder is a very uncommon occurrence in Millennius, I think it's called, Millennius. Then the Doctor sort of, is saying that the companions can be his detectives, so Savifa and Altos sort of look into the legal side of it, that why people have been proven innocent in the past, and looking at the legal side of it. Susan and Barbara, very much they help the Doctor sort of on the investigation rather on the more criminal side. Am I putting that right? Practical. They take a sort of practical approach where Sabica and Altos take a more theory approach. It seems that the Doctor does know where the key is. We haven't been told, but it does seem he knows where the key is. He then tells Barbara and Susan that it's the relief guard, which I think is probably the only explanation you could give. He's first on the scene. It makes sense that he would just pretend to be first on the scene if he was the killer. Sort of a bit of a practical demonstration by the Doctor. Then we have the Barbara and Susan go and see the relief guard. And his wife says, him and Ephraim, the one that was murdered, were friends, and that if he knew anything, he would tell. Here we have the husband and the relief guard sort of be told by them that they know where the key is, and he sort of makes a really guilty statement. Then he sort of raises his hand towards Susan, doesn't actually end up hitting her, but that's pretty bad, and I'm surprised they put that in Classic Who. We then hear as well that the wife was hit by the husband, which another thing that is probably, it surprises me that it's in Doctor Who, or at least Classic Who, because I'm trying to think. I think in New Who there was that episode in series 2, where they go back in time to the one that was stuck in the television, that alien that was stuck in the television, and the father of like a son and a husband, he was as well, got the sort of impression that he really was a bully to the family and tried to, and maybe even hit the wife. That was in series 2. That was sort of, yeah, I guess that's a bit similar, but I can't think of any other case in New Who where he really looked at, being physically abused. Then we find out they're talking, so he's obviously involved. What his role in it is, don't know yet. Then we have the court case, and the doctor's very much saying, oh, yep, the real person that did this is in this courtroom. And then he elaborates, gets Sabitha to sort of show the micro key and state that the relief guard was the one that gave it to her. The relief guard then sort of is killed when he is about to reveal who made him do it. The doctor's like, yeah, I resorted in a bit of subterfuge, but I believe it was worth it. Then we find out they do some sort of technological thing to find the characteristics of the last person that used that weapon, which is pretty cool. Then it seems that the judges decide that, yeah, he's still guilty. That there hasn't been enough evidence to suggest otherwise, and that Ian will be executed. And here at the end, we have Susan contacting Barbara, telling him she's been basically kidnapped and they'll kill her if they reveal where the micro key is. And that's the end of The Keys of Marinus Part 5. Okay, so that was Doctor Who Series 1. Well, I'm saying Series 1, well, I guess it is. It's Doctor Who, The Keys of Marinus, Sentence of Death. So I guess it is Season 1, Series 1, whatever you want to call it, of Classic Who. Yeah, so I don't think there's much more to add. At the end of the next episode, I'll give the entire story 1 to 10, something like that. Not the best episode. I think I enjoyed the last 2 episodes the most so far, but we'll see how the final episode goes. Social media accounts are listed in the description below, as well as Patreon, where you can obtain the full uncut, unedited reaction of this episode and other episodes. Also, there are some free items on Patreon that you can access as well. Yeah, so that's all listed in the description below. And if you enjoyed this reaction, don't forget to give it a like, comment, and subscribe, and I will see you next time. Bye.